I put a lock on my 10-year-old son's bedroom door, and my family is calling me a monster. My son is quiet. He loves his space, his things, his peace. But my sister lives down the street with her 3 kids, and whenever they visit, it's like a tornado hits his room. They swarm in, grab his toys, break things, and he just stands there watching helplessly because he's too gentle to fight back. I watched this happen over and over. My quiet boy would retreat further into himself every time they left. His broken toys scattered across the floor like evidence of an invasion he never asked for. So my husband and I made a decision. We installed a lock on his door. We told him he could use it whenever he wanted privacy, that he was old enough to decide who came into his space. Of course, we kept a spare key for emergencies, but this was his sanctuary now. The first test came last week when my sister brought her kids over for lunch. I heard the familiar stampede upstairs, then confused voices. They came running down. "The door won't open." "It's not stuck," I said calmly. "It's locked. You'll need to ask if he wants company." My 12-year-old nephew's face went red. He wanted that PlayStation 5. He started demanding I make my son share, getting louder and more insistent. I offered him my Switch downstairs instead. That's when my sister exploded. "A 10-year-old doesn't need that kind of privacy. You're teaching him to be rude and selfish. My 12-year-old doesn't have a lock, so why should your 10-year-old?" I bit my tongue. I wanted to tell her that her kids were exactly why he needed that lock, but I wouldn't humiliate them in front of everyone. "This is what we felt was appropriate for our son," I said instead. But she wasn't done. She turned to my boy, her voice sticky sweet, but with an edge that made my stomach turn. "You want your cousins to play in your room, don't you? They're so bored down here. Wouldn't it be fun to share?" I watched my son's face crumble. He's terrible with confrontation, hates disappointing people, and she knew exactly which buttons to press. His little hands were shaking. "Stop," I said, stepping between them. "If the kids are bored, maybe it's time to head home. It's not fair to make them sit here if they need to play so badly." My sister's eyes went ice cold. She gathered her kids and stormed out, but not before hissing that I was raising a selfish brat. Within hours, my phone was buzzing. My parents, her friends, everyone had heard her version. How I was teaching my son to be inconsiderate, how family should share everything, how locking doors would make him antisocial and weird. He needs to learn to share, my mother lectured me over the phone. Having his cousins around will help him be less shy. Children don't need privacy at that age. But here's what kills me. When we go to their house, my son always asks permission before touching anything. Always says please and thank you. Always puts things back exactly where he found them. I've begged my sister to teach her kids the same respect, but it's always dismissed with kids will be kids or they're just playing. My husband finally said what I'd been thinking. Maybe they shouldn't come over for a while. The family group chat exploded. I was being dramatic. I was damaging relationships. I was turning my son into a recluse. But that night, my son came to me with tears in his eyes. "Mom, can I keep my door locked?" "Of course, baby. It's your room. I like my things the way I leave them, and I like quiet time. Is that okay?" I held him tight. This sweet, gentle boy who thinks wanting basic respect for his belongings makes him selfish. That's more than okay. That's perfect. The next morning, my sister showed up unannounced. She walked straight upstairs with her kids trailing behind, expecting the usual free-for-all. But this time, they found a locked door and a boy who finally had the power to say no.